This episode of Man of Prestige, because you'll be keeping scores and competing with her too much, right? So competing with your girl is a great, fantastic, fast way. You do that enough time, you will sabotage your relationship. 5, seeking validation. All right, that's needy behavior. You need her to agree with what you said. That goes back to arguments, right? Seeking validation. You're overly needy. You need to be appreciated in words every day, Granted, maybe that's your love language. We'll call it words of affirmation. Guess what? It's actually part of my love language too, words of affirmation. But from a standpoint, see, I'm very aware, so I'm not overly needy about that. But when my wife appreciates me in words, right? Like for example, earlier today, I'm aware you could tell I'm in a hotel room, right? Like for example, earlier today, I said good morning, my wife, or I said that in my native language. 7 ways that a man sabotages a relationship. 7 ways that a man sabotages a relationship. I'm going to share 7 ways that a man sabotages a relationship with you. Take some notes, rewind this video, put it in your watch playlist, whatever, because this happens all the time. As a matter of fact, I've done it before. Okay, you think I haven't done this in 15 years, 14 years marriage? Come on, I have done this before, and the point of it is that you're sabotaging. You're not necessarily doing it. Obviously, you're not trying to destroy your own relationship, but it happens all the time. So I'm going to share some of that insights with you. I promise I try not to use psychological languages because I don't want to be, echo chamber of everybody else. Most importantly, I think when we break this down to 5th grade level as much as possible, I think we understand better, right? So let me read this quote really quickly. A man sabotages a relationship because he doesn't know how to deal with the feelings that come up when he's committed. These are the psychological stuff, but let me get it out of the way, right? He might be afraid or feel like he needs to compete for your attention and affection. Yeah. I just shared one, but I'll spell them out, I promise, okay? Or maybe he feels like you're coddling him and taking care of him too much. Yeah, some people actually, they don't know how to handle attention, His insecurities could also stem from childhood wounds. Yes, men do have childhood trauma. It is what it is, okay? Some of them have adult trauma. They got dumped at the age of 41 and they're hurt. They feel some kind of way still, okay? Not feeling loved enough by his mother or father, for example. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens to the best of us, Obviously, that part is not me because my father and my mother are a big part of my life. But I've seen enough cases that I know. Whatever it is, the root cause lies deep inside him and stems from an unconscious fear. It's unconscious. You're not supposed to admit to this, but awareness, just maybe it's there, right? Unconscious fear of intimacy and commitment, what we call attachment wounding. Yeah. So anyway, that's the psychological stuff, right? I want to share with you these 7 things that I feel like are very right there. You can make sure you avoid that can absolutely make you sabotage your relationship as a man, okay? Number 7, entitlement. And you feel entitled. I can't, like this, I hear this all the time. Oh yeah, so I did this for her. I helped her with her resume. I'm a positive person. Oh my God, I hear that too a lot. I am a good guy. Oh, maybe that's one of the problems. I'm a nice guy, right? Maybe that's part of the problems, right? The problem is not that you're a good guy, nice guy. It's the fact that this entitlement attached to that. You see, you're going to drain yourself. You're going to drain the relationship with that attitude, okay? You will, okay? And you may say, but what if, like somebody asked me earlier today, what's wrong with the man just expressing like, there's nothing wrong. We're not talking about right and wrong on this channel ever. We're talking about in the long term, is this beneficial for you? That's what we're talking about. In the short term, trust me, I know it's beneficial because if it wasn't beneficial, this wouldn't be a question. Most people, have life questions answered in the short term. We know how you feel is usually attached to short term results. But in the long term, is this necessarily a rewarding thing to do, right? So being entitled in a relationship puts you in a space where you start to expect. You have unrealistic expectations of, and you have illusion of how much you should expect. And when it doesn't show up in short term, you get frustrated, and that shows up in your behavior across board. That's a problem. Number 6, competing with your girl. So usually this is in your words, okay? It's not necessarily action in your words, but also the only action I would say is attitude. If you engage arguments and you have to be right, okay, I didn't have to have that. When you engage in argument, you're absolutely actively looking to be right. The problem with these things is that a lot of them is subconscious. When you're doing it, you don't mean to harm her, but she's being harmed effectively. Okay, maybe not her, because you didn't mean to harm her. The relationship is being harmed, because when you make another person wrong, that doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Resentments will follow as well, usually, right? If you do it enough times, you will sabotage your relationship. Arguments are realistically part of relationships. The point is that you should try to avoid it without being dismissive with your lady, because you'll be keeping scores and competing with her too much, right? So competing with your girl is a great, fantastic, fast way. You do that enough time, you will sabotage your relationship. 5, seeking validation. All right, that's needy behavior. You need her to agree with what you said. That goes back to arguments, right? Seeking validation. You're overly needy. You need to be appreciated in words every day. Granted, maybe that's your love language. We'll call it words of affirmation. Guess what? It's actually part of my love language too, words of affirmation. But from a standpoint, see, I'm very aware, so I'm not overly needy about that. But when my wife appreciates me in words, right? Like, for example, earlier today, I'm aware you could tell I'm in a hotel room, right? Like, for example, earlier today, I said, good morning, my wife, or I said that in my native language, and she said, good morning, husband of her middle praise name. So listen, things like that is subconscious. It makes you feel good, right? But the problem comes when, if I don't hear it, I go crazy, or things like that. It doesn't have to be that exact example, right? Then I start to go crazy. That's when the problem comes. Or we're talking about a topic, or somebody said mansplaining earlier today. Mansplaining is a man explaining. Some people do that to their girl. They don't realize they were doing it, right? They read a new book, they're trying to explain, they're trying to make, and she's kind of like, she's not interested. She didn't say that. She didn't mean not to be interested, but she's bored. She didn't mean to be bored, but you didn't pick that up because you don't know how to read a room. You lack social intelligence, right? But you really need her. You need her to listen and hear what you have to say. But you didn't say it exactly like that, but your behavior is saying it. It's called needy behavior. It's called seeking validation. You will, not this one thing, but this will translate to other aspects of your relationship. You will sabotage that relationship. Number 4, not respecting yourself. What does that look like? Well, the first step that I know that you're not respecting yourself is when you ask for respect. If you're asking for respect, if you're actively subscribing to people that ask for respect from women, you're not respecting yourself. In fact, you haven't respected yourself. That's why you don't have respect. Okay? Because women naturally respect men that has earned it. They naturally submit to men that has earned it. It's the natural first thing. If they engage you in a romantic way, it's the natural first thing. But guess what happens? If they stop feeling safe at some point in time, yes, that masculine energy will come out, and of course, they can't submit. It's not a decision. They don't get to decide if they submit to you or not. You attract what you get from that woman, okay? Again, remember, within the context of you've engaged this person, romantic. I'm not saying random people. Random people could just be rude off the street, or maybe they're a rude person just roundabout. I'm talking about a person you've engaged in a romantic relationship. If she's disrespectful, you are kind of tolerating that. I'm not saying that to shame you or victim shame you. I'm saying that you really want to own that name, victim, and retain your power. I would think about that hard. Pause. Right. So, number 3, not taking care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, you will sabotage your relationship, because there's a good chance you're expecting her to take care of you, right? There's a good chance that she's going to agree with you and not take care of you, because she mimics what you do to yourself, how you see yourself. She mimics that. Wait, she's a puppet? No, she's a human being. We all do that. Okay? How you take care of yourself, that goes back to the respect. If you respect yourself, they don't get to decide to respect you or not. They just respect you, right? But when you have to ask for respect directly from them, you've lost respect somehow, some way, either by being present in a place where you're not being respected, or by actively behaving in a certain way, So not taking care of yourself, she has no choice but to mimic that. You do that long enough, there's no girl that wants to stay forever with a guy who doesn't take care of himself, to the point where she starts to not feel the need to value you. All of this whole thing are subconscious until you approach it and you're actively looking at it, like the way we're doing right now. 2, not engaging purpose. See, when you don't engage purpose, and by the way, I'm starting to hate purpose, the word, because people are using it wrongly. Before you say something, oh, you and your purpose, I don't like that, but I have to use the word because it's real. Okay, if you're not engaged in your life mission and purpose, which should be bigger than life itself, including your life, you will have time for a lot of bullshit. That's a problem. Okay, you have time for keeping scores with your lady. You will have time to forget to go to work, or forget to go post that content, your side gig, do that thing you're supposed to do, because you're arguing, you're trying to be right. Or she kind of picked the wrong button, or she pressed the wrong button on you, and then you're actively just in a funk. And see, when you're not engaged with your purpose, you will have time for bullshit, not necessarily from your girl alone, but generally in life. And again, if you're moving in this type of way, most women at some point will get tired, because there's no real value for them to stay. So you can potentially sabotage your relationship. It's not right or wrong. It's not you're guilty. It's just how life plays. It's unfair, I know, but it cancels out. It's unfair for everybody because it cancels out. Okay. All right. Number one is this: capping patience. Okay, when you get to a point like, well, I've had enough. If you move like that, right? If a woman says something and it gets you yelling at the top of your lungs, right? Or a woman says something that gets you to shut down all the way, that you're completely dismissing her, right? You lost patience, right? You may say, but I've been patient for 2 weeks. Yeah, I know 2 weeks is a long time, right? But somehow you're focused on the patient as opposed to having infinite patience. If you're capping patience, that means you put a limit on patience, and you're trying to be involved in a romantic relationship with a lady, it will fail you. Okay, you will sabotage the relationship. All types of stunts must be pulled to make sure that you have unlimited amounts of patience, because you will be tested, not just by your lady, but every woman in your life. This is just how they are. For me, I don't have time to argue with how people are. I see them as what they are. Then that gives me room to look for what kind of value they bring into my world. And trust me, women bring value to your world. But if you're too focused on the part that they don't bring, right, you will have a hard time receiving, because you're focused, you're fixated on something that's simply not there, right? So I would say that happens when you cap your patience. Capping your patience is not something you do consciously. You run out of patience when you're not engaged with your purpose. Goes back to number 2, right? You run out of patience because you have time for too much bullshit. But patience is extremely easy with purpose and prayer, right? Prayer is basically, as far as I'm concerned, meditation, your own quiet time. You don't bargain that. You have your own me time. So you're not pouring from an empty cup. So you do it at some point where patience is almost like it's irrelevant. You don't need to be actively patient because you are busy taking care of yourself, taking care of your purpose. And if she's full of shit, she's going to eject herself because there's no room for it. There's no room for it in your life. Drama free zone.